I'm saying like pheromones, not even just body odor. It could be body odor too.
Oh,
but sometimes some people's body odor gets like it grows onto me.
You were talking about something.
Pheromones,
Yeah, okay.
something
that natural when the human being naturally sweats and they have that body odor. You could. It's not necessarily bad.
Again, not body odor.
I mean, not body odor. Whatever you were talking about.
Pheromones, smell. Like
yeah.
if you smell something, it reminds you of a person type thing.
Yeah.
Like
Everybody has their own unique smell.
kind of like that last story told us about your teacher's perfume. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You know what's funny? I have a teacher's perfume too, 3rd grade as well. That was very mesmerizing for me. I had the biggest crush on her. And her perfume was ingrained in my brain. And one time, just randomly, I also just smelled it walking down the street. And I felt like I was 5 years old again. You know, that feeling of not being jaded by life and the earth yet, by people in society yet. You know, you're still pure and you're looking at everything in awe. All of that came back just from a whiff of a smell. Because your memory and your sense of smell is closely placed in your brain. So it's very closely related to.
Also, if you close your nose while you're eating, it takes away a lot of the taste.
You can't taste. No, you can't taste. That's also related too. You ever said something like, man, that tastes like trash. And it's like, how do you know what trash tastes like? You never ate trash, but you smell trash. So a sense of smell and taste is very closely related too.
Or just looking at our food before we eat it. It's a blessing as well, because they say the eye eats before the mouth. So that's why when you go to a restaurant or something, or you go to somebody's house, they sprinkle those chopped almonds over the rice, or they put those green parsley and all this stuff to because the eye eats. So once you see that, you have the visual and stuff like
Yeah, presentation is everything.
Yeah.
Presentation is everything.
It tells you a lot about we human beings. We love presentation. Even the food before we eat it, knowing it was a living creature, right? This sheep or cow that you were eating was somewhere in a farm rolling in mud. Now all of a sudden it's like, it's
serving a purpose to
give
you nutrition. Yeah. Real life is not that clean. It's dirty out here. But what is dirty, right?
What is dirty?
I mean, like, if you're playing out in the mud, is that dirty? I don't think so. If you're playing in feces, maybe. But is mud dirt? Is that dirty? I mean, is dirt dirty?
I don't think it's dirty. I mean, if you look at just the earth, soil itself, the most beautiful flowers grow from there.
Exactly. I mean, life where it happens from birth. Is that clean?
No.
Is it dirty though?
No.
Oh.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So.
What do we determine what's dirty and what's clean?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's just natural. That's what it is. I think that's like the in between. Like dirt is natural.
Yeah.
Baby being born is natural.
Yeah.
So it's not just dirty or clean. What's dirty, what's clean, what's natural.
Like a lot of guys get grossed out by when their significant other has their period or they're having that time of the month, the menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
Is that dirty? That's not dirty.
It's natural, yeah.
That's life. That's the cycle. Because of that, we're all here. Bodily movements. People get weirded out when we talk about like bowel movements. And it's like, okay, it's a natural process that happens, excretion of waste. And you have to pay attention to it. It's very crucial. It's very telling of your body. If your bowel movements are not in a right cycle, if you pay attention to it, is it solid? What kind of solid? What does it smell like? Is there a foul smell? What's the color? It'll tell you about your digestive system. How, if everything is working properly within this machine as we're ingesting and digesting food. Are you fully digesting the food? But people get grossed out by talking about it because it's dirty. It has a certain smell, and it's like, all right, well, let's be grown-ups here.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Because, that's how if you look at it, the soil from the earth, it's how vegetation grows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through exactly what you're talking about. Like animals' feces.
Animals' poop.
Yeah.
Is the fertilizer.
It's the fertilizer.
How cool is that? The nutrients that the soil gets is through animal feces. So they actually eat the dirt, they eat the grass and whatnot, they chew it up, and then throw it out, it gets fermented, and then fertilize it and gives nutrients back to the whole cycle all over again. We never really stop and think about that. Is that dirty? No, that's the nature. That's the cycle.
That's the cycle.
That's how everything goes.
Isn't that interesting? Because that reminds me of how when a woman gives birth and they say it's very beneficial for the woman to eat the placenta.
I heard that.
I heard some societies do that. I didn't think it was real though, but
No,
I guess it must be.
In EMT
Yeah.
class, it's a thing. It's true.
Yeah.
It's all the nutrients. It's probably disgusting, and probably no one does it, but it's kind of similar. It comes out the body. It's from what they ate, and if you eat it again, you just get more nutrients and stuff.
That's my question to that would be: do we digest human cells the same way?
What do you mean by that?
You know what I mean? Like if you're a cannibal, say if you're eating another human, is that going to sit well with your system, or would you have some problems because of that? Because human beings, we're simple stomach animals, right? So we're not as complex as ruminant animals such as cattle, goat, deer, and is our digestive system made to eat simple stomach animals? Their flesh, because it's different. I don't think so. That's my question would be to the person who talks about eating placenta, if that's good.
Yeah. What's that research that they do if you have some sort of disease and they take basically the unborn.
Okay, you're talking about stem cell research. Yeah. So they basically take stem cells from the placenta, right, or the unborn babies, and they inject it into other human beings, and it recreates their cells the same way. It's crazy stuff.
It makes them basically
regenerate cells that they wouldn't have otherwise naturally, because I guess in the placenta maybe it's rapidly regenerating cells. As a baby, you're multiplying within seconds probably, or hours at least.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they just extract that and then inject it into, let's say the person has an injury in their shoulder and they just never rehabilitated that injury. You inject some stem cells in there and it just recreates your bone the way it was supposed to, so now you're healed.
They add 20 years to your life.
Yeah. You think that's ethical?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Why not? Because it's not like it's a living thing or anything of that sort. It's just placenta cells.
I don't know enough about it, honestly. But just the sound of it.
Just the sound of it?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line? Do you think surgery is ethical? 'Cause somebody needs a surgery to live.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's ethical. You go ahead and do that. Where do you draw the line? Say maybe somebody needs some stem cells to live and thrive and you're just extracting some cells from a non-living thing. It's a placenta, though. It's like the home of the baby. And now it's just gonna go to waste. You're not gonna do anything with it. Why don't you use that for?
How do they get this?
I'm not sure.
I mean, when a lot of women abort their babies, right?
Is that where they get it from? Okay. What about after you have the baby? Maybe they get it from like the placenta.
Do they?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Who are we arguing with? Who are we debating with? But yeah, no, like, you know, there's certain like the Amish, right? They refuse to use electricity. They would refuse to use cars, certain technologies, and I think they'll probably even refuse to use certain health remedies. You know, somebody wants to just die with natural causes. They want to die and they don't want to take the medication. You know, where do you draw the line?
It's funny you say that. I had a friend who's like taking one of his like medical exams. I don't know, his MCAT or his STEP or something, whatever it is. And one of the questions was about Jehovah's Witnesses and if they need like a blood transfer, blood infusion. What is it called? Do you do it? Like, they give you a lot of ethical and moral questions, because I think it's against Jehovah's Witnesses like beliefs to do anything with like blood infusions or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm not a big science guy personally, but in my opinion, and it is because I have, you know, a lot of lack of knowledge on like the whole science world. Yeah. Definitely the line for me is when it comes to cosmetic.
Like how much cosmetic though?
Any cosmetic surgery.
Unless surgery, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's health related, if you benefit from it, like with your health.
A lot of people do like nose jobs now because they say it helps them breathe better. You know, you don't want to get caught in that justification of like, hey, it is for my health, but also aesthetics too.
Did the doctor tell you that though, or did you tell yourself that? I think that's where it kind of comes in.
Yeah, but certain doctors, they just want to perform the surgery, so they'll tell you stuff like that. Think doctors give a shit?
They don't care. They just want
want their buck. Yeah. Hey man, yeah, maybe you'll breathe better as well. They're salesmen. It helps their bank balance. It helps pay off that Ferrari, that Porsche, that third mansion. Of course not. Yeah.
It's like that car dealer kicking the tires.
Yeah, man. You guys need this too. You need that too. You can't trust it. Where would you draw the line when it comes to these things?
When it comes to surgery?
Yeah. And is there anything in medical that you'll just, like, you know, when somebody gets on a respiratory monitor, when do you know when to pull the plug? Do you pull the plug? Would you even want to go on it? No, I'm hitting deep questions for you. He's like, you know what? I should think about this. But would I want to do that? I wouldn't want to go on that system. If I died, I'd die. That's it. Now I'm artificially being kept alive. I'm never going to be able to naturally keep a heartbeat. I wouldn't want to be on that. I'll tell all my family members, don't. It's done. It's a natural process. Why are you stopping it?
Because, I mean, at that point, you're not coming back to life.
Yeah. What if I'm stuck over there trying to go in my process and you're over here holding me thinking I want to stay here? I don't want to stay here. I'm off, peace.
Maybe you're already gone.
Yeah. And now you're just holding on to a memory, a collection of cells, an accumulation of cells that you have an attachment with. I'm not even there anymore. So.
And we don't even know what you're feeling.
Yeah. Would you ever want to be on that respiratory system?
There's a lot of people that come out of it.
So you would?
It depends. I mean, you have to know when to draw the line. I mean, if somebody's been on there for a month and the only thing that's keeping them alive are these machines, then I believe the guy is already. Who knows?
How long would you say? Then maybe a day? A day is good? 2 days?
I mean, there's people who came out of it after a month, right?
A whole month. Oh my God.
Yeah.
A whole month, and now they can just sustain a heartbeat. Wow. That's a second life.
That's a second
Your heartbeat stopped.
They don't come back the same though.
They never come back the same. You see what I'm saying? Who comes back? Maybe somebody else comes back, remember? Imagine.
Interesting, because I knew this one guy. He was literally hooked up to this machine, and you can change. You could actually a week later, 2 weeks later, his facial hair is still growing, his nails are still growing, everything is in this. Yeah, and
your body's getting the nutrients, so your nail growing is not your soul.
No, but I'm just saying, like everything is still going.
It's physically. A machine, yeah. It's working. It's going by itself.
But what's inside, is it still there? The spirit, right? Is it still there? No one knows.
No one knows.
Because we can't figure it out.
No, nobody knows that.
Do we know if the spirit is still there? I mean, nobody can really figure that out, right? You have doctors who are going to try to tell you everything that you need to know about the physical aspect. But they'll throw their hands in the air and be like, hey, listen, you want to keep them on? Keep them on. Do we know if there's anything in there? We really don't know.
Yeah.
He can be just a piece of meat at that point in time. There's people who hold on to that hope. They hold on to that prayer.
Yeah.
Sometimes I believe in prayers. I believe that certain prayers are answered, and we have miracles in life. Because life is majestic. Sometimes when things are not going the right way, you make a prayer and your prayers are answered. And sometimes you can't do anything about it. It's just gone. That person's time has come to a halt. There's nothing that you can do. So they say, we are all ghosts, longing for the moment to go back to a time when time didn't exist. And that's what we fall in love with. That's what we really try to hold on to. Because we fall in love with the spiritual. We fall in love with the soul. We fall in love with something from the unseen realm, because nobody has ever seen what a soul looks like. But are we really sure? Do scientists really know about this spirit or soul? Nobody really knows. But it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, because when the human being is in the stomach, it all starts with a heartbeat. But his beginning is that he's a piece of flesh mixed with some blood and then some bones, and then out he comes into this world. But if you have somebody, if you take a married couple who's been married for like 40 years, and then her husband dies, and she realizes that her husband is dead right next to her, she's going to call 911, because she's going to want that body out as soon as possible. Even though that's her husband, right? She loved this person for 40 years, but she's going to want that cold body out of there. Like, okay, it's time to let go. Because the thing that was alive within him is no longer in him. And this is what they're all trying to figure out. Oh, the soul. What about the soul? Is there a soul? Is there not a soul? Is there a...
You feel like animals have souls, right?
Yeah.
Now, they've replicated an animal in a lab. I've heard a sheep. I wonder, is it alive? Is there a soul in here? Who put a soul in here? How did it come? And if so, can they replicate a human being? Who's going to put a soul in there? How's that going to be? They've only came to like make ears. They take some of your cells and they put it into a rat, and then it grows like an ear, and then you can cut it off and use it on you and connect it to your, I guess, blood vessels. But imagine they can create a whole human being in a lab. We're going there, man. Who puts a soul in there?
Nah, I don't believe they did any of that.
Wait, hold on a second. You don't think there was a sheep created in the lab? It was.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, there was. I didn't see it with my own eyes.
Exactly.
But it's
a known thing.
It's a known thing. It's all over
Dolly
Google.
the sheep.
Dolly the sheep. They made it in a lab.
I think it died after like a couple months.
Probably had some complications. But my point is, animals have soul.
Yeah. Everything.
When this thing was born, if they made it artificially in a petri dish, where did the soul come from? How's it moving by itself? You know?
And like, what if Dolly the sheep, the one that was cloned, the clone version of it, what if that one has babies? Like, what happens? What goes on there?
What happens from there?
Well, everything happens by the permission of the creator.
Okay.
Right? So you can have two women who married each other have a child now through science with no man interaction.
You mean test tube babies from like the sperm bank?
Yeah.
Okay, but there was
so
a man
they're getting
found.
more creative with it.
He just shot it into the tube from really far away.
Okay. So
because the sperm didn't create it, and that egg that the woman has, it ain't.
Everything.
It was artificially inseminated.
I believe everything happens by the permission of the creator. Because we can have our hands into where
you're saying even the artificial insemination, the creator ordained it to happen that way. Okay. So what you're saying is that anything even artificial that's going on, that's also ordained by the creator. Like that sheep being made in a lab by those scientists was ordained by the creator, the divine God, Allah. Okay. I mean, that's one way to look at it too. Then nothing is artificial. Then everything happens by the will of God. The goods, the bads, the wars, the sick, all of it. The evil, Satan, hell, and the good too.
In order for life to go on.
Wait, hold on. How would you differentiate between what's good and bad then? If everything is ordained by the creator? You know?
No, I don't know. What do you mean? Emphasize on that.
Like, what's ordained by the devil?
Mm-hmm.
How do you differentiate between that? Because everything is done by the will of God, even the bad, right? So how do you differentiate if something is to be accepted as the will of God and to move forward, or, you know what I mean?
You have free will.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe you have free will?
Yeah.
I'd say you decided.
Do I? But sometimes I feel like I don't. Sometimes I feel like everything is just happening and I'm a third person watching it all go on.
I mean, that's not the case. You have you make your own choices. You don't have anybody telling you the things that you want to do, right?
Do you make your own choices? I mean, they call the gut the second brain, right? According to what you eat and how populated your gut microbiome is, you're a different person completely. Your hormones are different. Yeah. Well, you don't necessarily know what it's doing inside your body now,
or why you chose it.
Yeah, but you have
what if you were following a certain ideology and everybody was telling you to eat a certain way?
Yeah, but you have the free will to do the research and find out what you want for your body, what's beneficial.
Right.
Whether you choose to take that opportunity to look into is up to you.
Can somebody close that window?
Yeah, I got it.
I'm freezing.
What if you're being fed by your mom?
So
free will then.
Here's a good question, right? If we have free will and we are able to choose our own paths in life, our decision making, we're able to choose the road to evil, the road to good. And in that case, if God knows everything that's going to happen already, then why did he create us? You ever thought about that?
Yeah, a lot. I couldn't answer it, so I got sick of it and I dropped the question.
Can I give you an example?
Give me an answer.
Okay. This is really like, just think about it, bro, type thing, right?
Think about it, bro.
Think about it, bro.
It's going into that drawer.
So you're working and you're excited about this UFC card. And you know that 2 of your favorite fighters are going to fight that night.
Yeah.
And you're dying to get out. So you go and tell your boss, hey, listen, I really got to attend family matters, blah, blah, blah. He's like, nah, man, I have nobody here. You can't get out of work. So you call me up. You're like, bro, I'm stuck here. Listen, I know the fight starts at 10 o'clock, but I'm going to do my best to get out of here as soon as possible, and I could later catch the main event. I'm like, cool. Peace. You get done with work. Now you're on your way home, and I'm watching the main card already play out. Okay? So I tell you, Conor got knocked out in the second round via head kick, for example, right? And you're like, damn it, bro, I told you wait for me, and now you blew it, right? You gave it away. I wanted to watch the fight. You go home, you already know what's going to happen because I told you exactly what's going to happen, right? But you had it recorded on your DVR.
Yeah.
So you want to go and watch it anyway. That's what a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. So now that you know what's going to happen, exactly how it's going to happen, and how the person is defeated and by what, either knockout or submission, in detail, as you click play to rewatch it, does it change the choices or the free will of the fighters in the fight?
That's already happened. I thought you were going somewhere else with this, but
it's already happened. But since you know what's going to happen, right? It did not alter the decision making or the free will and the choices of those 2 fighters.
the fact that
They
it's recorded,
made their choices already.
yeah.
They already decided what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, where they're going to position
In
themselves.
that moment in time, though,
Yes.
they did have free will. But then later on, in the DVR, they didn't have free will. What I thought you were going to say was, are you going to still go ahead and watch that fight in the DVR?
Can be too.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you already know what's going to happen, but did you experience it? No, you didn't. So maybe that's the point. God knows what's going to happen, but do you?
That's a good way. That's another great way in looking at it.
That's where you were going with
That's
this.
a beautiful way in looking
and you
at
also
it.
got to remember, like, when you're talking about free will and like you said, God knows what's going to happen, but do you? It's like, you know, if God's going to take someone, put them in hell, and then he's like, but why me? Why am I going to hell and they're going to heaven? He can't just be like, listen, I already know you're going to live life, you're going to do bad decisions, you're going to put you in hell. Versus look back at what you did. I gave you the choices to do this and that, and you still chose this. This is why you're going. You had your chance. Versus saying, I already know. Like, pretty much, imagine going to your teacher the first day of class. He's like, listen, I already know you're going to get an F. Here's your F. And you're like, whoa. I didn't even get to take my test. You didn't give me a chance to do my homework or anything. And then teacher's like, all right, fine, I'll give you a chance to do it. You see the difference in that? You get what I'm trying to say?
Because you have to be just.
Right.
Because God is just. Right? There has to be a justice. And
Has to be.
there has to be justice.
But you know how they say life isn't fair? Is that justice? Life's not fair.
I mean, what's fair? When you want to say what's fair and what's bad and what's evil,
Yeah.
you have just a little picture of what you're so limited in your way of thinking. You want to go and speak about what's fair and what's bad and what's evil.
See,
right now, if there was a car accident, a mile down the road, would you know about it? No, you're limited in your hearing. You're limited in your seeing. You're limited in every aspect. And you're also limited in your thinking. There's certain things that you and I, we can't pass that limit. Right? We're not limitless. So if somebody is trying to, if I say killing is bad, right? You would say, right, yes, we would all agree that killing is a bad thing to do. It's an evil thing to do. Now, if I came to you and I said, I killed somebody, you're going to be like, what? What do you mean are you crazy? I was like, okay. But now, here's the thing. What if I was protecting myself, right? Somebody tried to kill me, and in defense, in protecting my own life, I killed him. So that was an act, a murder, right? But I was defending myself. And he tried to kill me maybe because he wanted to rob me, right? But now you have one bad thing that happened in the world, okay? But let's say this person's death, because of this person's death, 5 people that he's known in his life, their lives took a dramatic turn and a change for the better. His death affected 5 people. And they started to really think about their own lives. And they started to they said, life is short. I want to do better. And John passed away at such, he took the wrong path and he was doing drugs and, he died. And he affected 5 people for the greater good. So you had one evil act. From there, you had 5 people who changed their lives for the better. Now, let's use that and compare it to, you guys all know the Amber Alert that you get on your phone, right? When a child is missing, they all get this alert called Amber Alert. And the Amber was an actual child who got kidnapped and murdered, chopped up, and then they implemented a law right after her death. So now when a child is missing, everybody gets an Amber Alert. So we had one evil act in the world, but look what happened. Like it caused something to happen in the world that people wanted to do better. So we don't know.
Yeah, and you got to remember that evil act was a decision. It was a choice. That was a free will by that person. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we're sacrificing one person for the greater good of others. That person made that decision of making that, free will choice.
You know what? Whenever I hear those stories, though, and it makes sense to me, I always ask, but what about Amber? Because, I understand, it's definitely for the better good, but I can't stop thinking about the Amber of the story. You ever get that?
That's where you come in and say that there's justice, right? For that sacrifice, this person gets a reward. That's what religion would say. So you're saying in the grand scheme of things, we don't know how all the pieces to the puzzle fit in their own way. And only divine energy would know that. So yeah, we're limited as human beings in every aspect. We're also gifted, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that we've had this life, because before that it was nothing, and now there's something. There's so much, but I'm glad there's something than nothing.
Something is better than nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're limited, but we're also gifted with so much. Look at all these senses we have. We can hear, speak, feel, temperature, taste, smell.
Those are all important factors.
for experiencing human life. And if you're lucky, you have common sense. Right?
Yeah. It's true. Common sense.
That makes life a little bit.
What do you mean by that?
It makes life a little bit more easy to navigate if you have common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right, when somebody says common sense, what does that mean? It's just a person to understand things that go without saying. There's certain things that you just know to do and then not to do. How you behave in a certain surrounding or around certain people. You know, you have common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know? What do you think I mean by common sense? When you hear common sense, what do you think that means?
I think it means that
if it's raining, you open up an umbrella. Common sense could be like that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's cold out, you just double layer. It's common sense. Something that you would just do instinctually. Mm-hmm. Without overthinking or being told by the CDC to wear a jacket when you go outside. You just know to do that. Right?
Yeah. You just know to do that. Inherent nature.
And you just know not to kill somebody. You should. You should have that moral compass, that common sense in order for you to be an ordinary, normal human being within this society. If you don't have that, something's off.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that actually. What about those people that like when you see in the winter in shorts still and like a short sleeve shirt?
Yeah, they probably don't feel cold.
Yeah, so they're not normal? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I was trying to say. I'm saying like if you're cold, wear a jacket.
Right.
Yeah. You know.
But people look at them different. Look at this crazy guy. I knew someone like that personally. In the winter, I've never seen him not wear shorts year round. Could be 20 degrees snowing outside.
But you get what I'm saying, right, Juan?
Yeah. I mean, it's also your inherent nature, right?
Psychopaths don't have common sense when it comes to that, wouldn't you say? Be like somebody like a serial killer. They're not going to have common sense about any consideration of the other person that they're killing. They're just doing it for their own pleasure or what have you.
This is something that we're all born with.
A moral compass.
A moral compass and the ability to have the rationality to be able to use our intellect. If somebody asks, why was it, if there's a God, then why did he even create this world? Or how come he couldn't really just say, hey, here, I'm God, this is the deal. Here I am, everything's in plain sight. You guys are being tested, do the right thing.
Yeah.
But he gave you the tools in order to understand that there is a creator. I would answer is, okay, why did he create this world? God created this world in order for you to know that there's a God. This is why the world is here. Look around you. And if you say, okay, where are the signs? Well, the signs are all around you. The fact that at night you sleep, in the day it's for your livelihood. Your body needs rest, and it rests in a beautiful way. The way the sun comes up, the way we need the star in order to live, in order to survive. And because of this light in the sky, vegetation and fruits and everything lives and grows, and in order for us to continue on. Like, none of these things are signs for you, for me. All of these things are signs.
So those are laws of physics that happen in this realm of reality. Right? So how does that tell you if there's a God? You're saying because everything is in harmony? So there must be a divinity behind it that ordains everything to happen in harmony. Otherwise, everything would be in chaos if there wasn't.
Exactly. So, for example, you see this light bulb.
Yeah.
You know that your intellect tells you, or your rationality tells you, well, this light bulb is here because, or that means that somebody put it there. It just didn't pop up out of nowhere. That's what your intellect tells you. So imagine the light bulb in the sky.
Yeah.
Like somebody somebody had to put it there.
Yeah.
Right? So our inherent nature, right? This is like an experiment. You ever play with like one of your little nephews or something, and at a certain age, like he could be like maybe 1 year old, 2 years old, the most, and he's by himself playing or whatever, and then you hide behind a couch, and you take like a ball, and then you just throw it and hide. And that infant automatically knows to look back or look up to see who threw that ball. The infant doesn't think like, oh, that ball came out of nowhere.
If it's the first time that the infant's seen it, then yeah, he would think that. But if it's not, then they would probably look for the person who threw it.
I don't think so. I don't believe in that.
Like if the first time, you get what I'm saying? Like the first time that you saw lightning strike, you know, you don't understand the mechanism of how it works. You think that's normal. That's just the way it is. The first time you would see anything, you adapt yourself to that, and that's considered normal because it's the way it always goes. You get what I'm saying? And there's a lot of things that we just take as normal and put it in the background. You get what I mean?
Okay, let's take it even further back.
But I see what you're saying. It's like common sense.
When the child exits the womb and the doctors hand the baby to its mother, how does the baby know how to suckle automatically?
Instincts.
It knows right away. Nobody has to tell it. Nobody has to teach it. This is something that, or you ever seen on like a Natural or Discovery Channel, like that turtle that as soon as it comes out,
knows how to swim.
It goes straight into the ocean.
Yeah.
That is its inherent nature.
Yeah.
To just know.
So you're saying that the belief in God is basically in our DNA. Or how you would say it, think about it, bro. It's common sense. If there's harmony here, there must be something behind it that makes things in harmony. Otherwise, you can't necessarily like throw utensils and pot and pans down the stairs and imagine a Bach symphony to be created from that. It's not random. Somebody sat there and deliberately thought about which note to go with what in order for it to be a symphony and things to be in harmony.
It's like trying to throw sand in the air and thinking that when it hits the ground, it's going to create a sandcastle automatically.
Yeah. I think when this is a problem with like probabilities and mathematics, they say like, well, you know, there is a probability that might happen. There's still a chance, right? It might be a very minimal chance, but there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my thing against like statistics and probability. Right? That's a whole another topic that I would like to get into. My thing with probability, man, and statistics, it's that how can we measure something from statistics to the T accurately and then just determine that from here on forward everything is going to be a certain way because the probability is higher? for this to happen. But what if you're a case, take any statistics for instance, what if you're the case that lies as the anomaly, or in the probability, the lower one, but that's just the cards that you were dealt with. Now, what does that statistic tell you? Like, say there's a higher chance of you not to get hit by a car at 2 o'clock in the morning as you're crossing the street. But you just happen to be crossing the street at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's less of a chance, so you didn't look. But you know what? In that time, you got hit. What are you going to do with those statistics? All the professions are going to sit here and tell you, well, the chances were that it wouldn't happen because there's less cars, there's less people, yada, yada, yada. And you chose to live your life with that statistic. The higher statistics is, the higher probability is that you won't. So, you live by that, you ease up a little. You know what I mean? So what do you do with that statistic now? This is just a piece of professional data that's garbage for me because it did me no good. I still got hit by a car. Mm-hmm. Even though every single professional who does through statistics would tell you that the probabilities are, lower. So my thing comes with that, right? Can you really rely on statistics and probabilities in every aspect and then determine your life from there on forward? No, you need common sense.
You need rationality. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you had 2 pairs of dice on you right now, okay, and you rolled the dice 100 times, what's the probability that you will land on 6 every single time?
I don't know the answer. What is the answer?
I would say
probably very small.
I would say
nearly impossible.
Nearly impossible.
But there's still a chance.
But there's still a chance, right?
Okay.
So what if I said if you rolled the dice 100 times, the probability that you might land on 6, not all the time, but how many times will you land on the number 6? There's a high chance.
Higher, yeah.
There's a higher chance. So if creation was random, if there was just this randomness in the universe, then how come nobody has the same fingerprint? If it was just like rolling the dice, then at least somebody in this world has to have the same fingerprint as me, right?
Yeah, but there isn't. Oh, I never thought of it that way. Every snowflake is different, right?
Every snowflake is different.
All the social justice warriors are different.
And that's the way I look at it.
Right.
There are certain signs that are here for us to see, right? It's like when you get pulled over by a cop.
Yeah.
And you're oblivious to what's going on. You're like, officer, the first thing you want to do is say, why'd you pull me over?
Fuck you pull me over for, man.
And he goes, what do you mean why I pulled you over? You didn't see the sign?
Mm-hmm.
What sign? I didn't see no sign. And he goes, you just completely ran that stop sign. The big red sign that says stop. You didn't see it? You're like, no, I didn't see the sign, no. But he doesn't know that you had your attention towards this guy on the side of the street waving his hands at you like this. He was basically telling you, stop, there's a cop right there.
Mm.
You totally missed the stop sign because you were paying attention to that guy that's waving his hand, telling you to stop at the stop sign because you were going to miss it, and he knew that there was a cop there. So that's the same concept with life. That guy waving around, That's the world. Pulling you in. Distracting you. All these things are distractions. And we miss the signs. All the signs are all around you. It's like, oh, I didn't know. I mean,
in that analogy, the person was telling you to stop, though, right?
He was telling you to stop. Look, there's a sign right there. It's a stop sign.
So he was giving you a sign to follow the rules.
Right, but you were distracted by his hand gestures and movement, and you're like, what is this guy doing?
So equally so, you're saying that the world is telling us of the existence of God, and we're getting lost in it by looking at the people the way they're telling us?
By looking at the people, by looking at the distraction, luxury,
worldly things,
desires.
But they're not telling us the existence of God. If anything, they're diverting our attention from it, you're saying, right? Worldly things really divert our attention from godly things.
Absolutely.
In the grand scheme of things, how things are supposed to be in harmony in the grand scheme of life. You know, don't look at the shiny objects and get lost and start chasing after the shiny objects, thinking that that will give you happiness in life. But living your life and experiencing that will give you happiness, because that's the most precious thing. Not something we equate to be rare. And once you have possession of this rare object, as if you have something that can change your life and give you happiness. No, I can't. Like that rich man who doesn't have health and can't enjoy his wealth. Ask him how valuable this $1 million in the bank is. He'll give it all just for health.
Yeah. The first thing, when you sleep and the next morning you wake up, you're literally being resurrected from the dead. And the first things that you think about is these worldly life. First thing you think about is work. First thing you think about is
it's unfortunate that we have to. It's unfortunate that we have to. We're all stressed out and trying to keep up in the economic system to live comfortably without stress and having everything paid.
Like a hamster on the wheel.
Yeah. I'm thinking we can choose not to do that. You know, recently I've been looking into like farmsteads, homesteads, and a way of life. And you know, when I was younger, I would laugh at that stuff. If I hear anybody talking about living a life, let's say, without currency and money, I'd say, come on, it's impossible. But Alan Watts says this is like saying that, hey, we can't build a house because we don't have any more inches. What do you mean you don't have any more inches? You just measure and you have inches, you know, like in the Great Depression, it's like, oh, we don't have money to buy food, but we have food. So why can't we all just eat? Why do you need to have a transaction of a currency in order for it to happen, you know? So now when I think about like farmsteads, I think like, you know, just cut out the whole middleman of giving your life away towards something else, achieving the paper currency, and then going off and doing that thing. Why don't you just build a home, have some livestock, animals, and live sustainably through that forever? You know, not having to pay a mortgage or rent. Why do I have to pay for that? You know, why do I have to exchange the moments of my life that are the most precious, that I'm never going to get back again, just to live my present moment? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're signing off your contract of your slavery. That's it. I have to do something that I don't want to do necessarily in order to live, which I'm inevitably going to do anyways. So you're saying as long as I live, I'm going to do things that I don't want to do? That makes no sense. And I never understood that until now. I never understood that. So farmsteads and homesteads are looking really good right now. If I could build my own barn, you know, have some livestock, know how to cultivate my land. If I was equipped with this knowledge, you know, I just don't see why would you want to stick around a city and do the things that you don't want to do. coronavirus, COVID-19 really woke up a lot of people in that, me, myself included. I haven't taken any steps of it yet, but I'm watching some YouTube videos on how homestead works. Maybe take out a trip or two out in Catskills and Adirondack, see what the wildlife is like or the farm life is like. I really want to go see the Amish, man. Their belief system kind of resonates with me.
It's a beautiful way of living.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. But I wish I had that strength in me.
Strength?
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that. We have like the Stockholm syndrome. You know, we're stuck. We hate it, but we don't want to leave it. We kind of like it. We love it.
It's like a prison built by the inmates themselves.
Yeah. And policed by the inmates too. We don't want to leave it. Even if you have a chance, it's like a drug. You're addicted to it. The fact that you have, because, I mean, in a way, there should be a balance, right? If you can't get everything out in a farmstead life, in the more country lifestyle, right? You still want to be able to, you don't have the luxuries of the society life. Maybe you can have a healthy medium. Come to the society, get what you need, and get out. Don't stick around.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to start seeping into you, and that's not going to be good.
Well, so I want to ask you, is that something you think you still have interest in if someone gave you $100 million right now?
To do what?
To like that lifestyle.
So if I would get addicted to the luxuries of life, let's say having a G5 and a mansion and the cars, I can't speculate the unexamined life and who I would become, but the way I think I won't be satisfied. Something would be missing. Even like I always say, it'll be like sleeping with a beautiful mannequin. You know, it's like something's off. Something's not right. I'm missing something here. I feel like I'm being fed, but I'm not satiated. You know, I'm being fed garbage. There's no nutrition in here.
You're lacking you lack the nutrition when it comes to materialistic objects, right?
Right. Yeah, that Ferrari's nice. For how long? And afterwards you get sick of that toy. And then you want another one. You want another one. You want something even better. It's just endless. If your happiness is numbers, you're never going to be happy, right?
Because
Marley said that.
You have food that feeds the stomach. Knowledge feeds the brain.
Right.
What is feeding your soul? You have to feed the soul. Because the unseen, we really neglect the unseen realm. And there's an unseen, the ancient people believed in the unseen. They knew that when they looked at a tree, they knew that because they see something on the surface, that meant or indicated that there was something beneath the surface. So when they looked at a tree, they understood that this tree was above, but there's also the deep roots embedded in the ground that they couldn't see. And now, if the roots of the tree are uncovered, you know the tree dies. So they kind of thought about their own scenario where if the unseen realm was revealed, then the seen realm has to disappear. So even when they looked at mountains, they seen this surface, this big rock up on the surface. They knew that there had to be something beneath where they couldn't see. And today, they will tell you that mountains have pegs. So everything that you see
is up above, so below, right? So, if something's up above, it infers that there's something below. That makes sense. I want to go back to what you were saying. Like, if you do have, say, $100 million or $1 billion, or you still choosing that sort of life, what do you think? Would you? I mean, even if you have 30 mansions, can you stay in all those mansions all at once? Can't. Still living in one of them. In one room, if anything. At one time. You have all the food in the world. Can you eat it all at once? You can't. So, as long as you have what you need, anything in excess of that, I think becomes a disease.
That's not your true wealth. Your true wealth is whatever you can use, not what you have. So if you have a house that has 5 bedrooms, but you only use 2, that's your true wealth.
Mm-hmm.
If you have $1 million, but you're only using 100,000, that's your true wealth. All the rest of the stuff that you don't use.
I think having that much amount of money gives you unimaginable amount of power. And with that power this is going to sound corny, responsibilities, right? You should be responsible, because with having that much amount of money and that much amount of power, you can change the face of this earth, change the face of society. You should be held accountable. You should be held responsible for the actions and what you will do with that amount of wealth and that much amount of power.
Mm-hmm.
Differently than somebody who doesn't have any power over changing the face of this earth through the economics. And I think that's something that our society lacks now, is those moral standards. These mega tech billionaires should be held responsible and accountable for changing humanity, evidently.
That's the nature of man, though. The nature of man is that if he had a mountain of gold, he's going to want 2 mountains of gold. And if he had 2, he's going to want the third. And this is something that is embedded in man. We always want more.
So I'm saying that we need our laws of society need to be ordained in such of a way where the people who have more power, they need to be held accountable for what they do with this power. It's not just, I made more money, that's it. It's on me. And I could be a piece of shit that has no manners. Even.
Like that movie Troy with Brad Pitt. So once they get to the island and they wanted to conquer Troy and they massacre the army, the Greek army, and this damsel in distress comes to him and she's royalty and she's like, why? Why all of this? All this killing, all this bloodshed, for what? And he goes, it's what man wants. She's like, what? More.